Michael Wilbon from Pardon the Interruption and the Worldwide Leader in Sports back on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Michael?
Rich, I'm good. Still trying to digest what we saw last night. Just a full day of sports. You're right. It was one of those, if you have a man cave with 3-4 screens, you're filled up. But I picked Wisconsin to win at the beginning of the tournament. So, I sort of had a horse in the race in a way, and I'm a Big Ten guy, as you well know.
Me too.
But I cut my teeth in the sports writing business covering ACC basketball, and a young Mike Krzyzewski 35 years ago, when I was 21, 22 years old. And so I've gotten to know Mike over a lot of years. And so I certainly was not rooting against Duke or Mike Krzyzewski, because what they've done is just amazing this year and so many others.
Yeah, and he's done it differently now. I mean, and I mentioned this at the top of my show, Michael, that so many coaches who have been around for as long as he has been around is the quintessential spotted leopard that is going to stay the same, right? And he is doing it in a manner that everyone said, well, look at Coach Cal as a perfect example, using all of these one-and-done kids. He has changed his style, and he's doing it in the modern way, which I think he deserves credit for instead of people who might be criticizing him for it. Where do you stand on that?
Pretty much in the same place. I don't hear the criticism of Duke that I hear of Cal, whether Cal was at Memphis or Kentucky. You don't hear the criticism of. I don't hear the criticism of Mike Krzyzewski that I hear of John Calipari, and I wouldn't criticize either one of them. These are the rules put in place that they have to navigate, and so they're doing, both of them, an amazing job. And Mike, to have 5 of them. I mean, look, in college basketball, it's John Wooden and then there's Mike Krzyzewski. That's it. And I mean, anytime those are the only 2 names. I guess you can go back and you can say, okay, Adolph Rupp, a completely different set of circumstances. But okay, if you want to do that, then you've got 3 names. But I don't have any criticism of Mike Krzyzewski for recruiting kids who leave after a year. Why? That's something for the NBA to take up. That's something for the National Basketball Association to address and, in my opinion, fix, even though I don't think it's going to change very much at all. But no, I mean, you look at three freshmen last night. 4 freshmen were the best 4 players on Duke's team, actually. Only freshmen scoring in the second half, I believe, Rich, for the Blue Devils last night. So, yeah, it's a wow.
Michael Wilbon, ESPN, Worldwide Leader in Sports. Pardon the interruption, since October of 2001. It's amazing how long that show's been on the air, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So that was one of Bo Ryan's comments that people were pulling out, the rent-a-player comment that he made post-game. And the other one was his discussion of how chippy it was in the second half and the hand checks and the physical nature that Duke was using against them, obviously in a ploy after a game against Kentucky. Wearing the Badgers down was no doubt a Duke philosophy going into the game. I saw you tweeted out about the refereeing of this tournament. I did also. It just strikes me as mind-boggling how chippy or choppy the officiating was in this tournament. What can be done about this, Michael? Probably
nothing, Rich. Believe me, I was thinking about that too last night. What's the solution here? I don't know that we're going to get this. Officiating at the college level has been problematic the whole 35 years I've been covering this, for the Washington Post and now ESPN. It's just sitting there courtside. But I don't know that it's ever been as bad as it is now. The tournament, the officiating in the tournament as a whole, not just these games, it was just atrocious. You look at some of those calls last night and some of the things that get missed. How about Wisconsin benefited from some of this. I mean, I bet Bo Ryan, who I love, is not bringing up the shot clock violation the other night that benefited him immensely in the game against Kentucky. That was a shot clock violation. You have to get that right if you're the officiating crew. Last night, Justice Winslow stepping on the end line. You've got to get that right. They missed that call. But what are you going to do? You're going to have points of emphasis? I don't think this is points of emphasis. It's competence. And I don't know what you do about this. I just, some of these complaints we've had over decades. And is it going to get any better? I don't know. People are going to say, well, the athletes are too big, too fast. Do they move at a rate you can't keep up? I mean, that really? So we can do everything else in sports to make the product better, but we can't address officiating. Yet I don't know, one, that the NCAA cares enough about this as an issue to try to do anything. And then the second point is, what would you do? You want to fire all the officials and go out and get new ones? I don't know that there's a quick solution for this, Rich.
So before we close the book on the national championship game, what do you think was the difference last night? Let's remove the officiating. Let's remove everything else. Just the X's and O's from your point of view as you were watching this game. What was the difference between Wisconsin and Duke last night?
Duke had more good players. I mean, Kaminsky is the best player on the floor. But Duke had more good players. I mean, Wisconsin had 3 really terrific players, and Decker didn't play his best game last night, obviously. Was he 0 for 5 from 3 or something like that? But Duke had 4 freshmen who were just terrific. More good players. I think that's all. That's what, if you look at it, how many people on Duke's team? I mean, even Okafor, who had no real game. And by the way, there's some questions to me about Okafor going forward. If you're supposed to be the best player, the number 1 player on the board, and you can't stay in front of Frank Kaminsky at all, and people are convinced at the NBA level that Kaminsky is only a sort of mid-first round pick because he's not quick enough, not fast enough, not explosive enough, not athletic enough, and you can't stay near him, then how are you going to stay with, I don't know, just pick a Pau Gasol? How are you going to do that? If you're Okafor, are you a franchise player already? You ready to make that move? I get, he's going to make it, obviously. But anyway, I thought that Duke just had more good players. I mean, the Jones kid, Tyus Jones, my goodness. That kid, wow, is really, really a terrific player. Freshman again. Allen, freshman, sort of forgotten. So Duke just had more good players that Mike had at his disposal to use and win that game, make more plays late in the game. It was a dead-even game.
ESPN's Michael Wilbon, at Real Mike Wilbon on Twitter, joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. It is Masters Week. It is that cross-section again, as we mentioned at the top of this interview. You got the Final Four that's now finished. Masters Week about to begin, opening day. These past few days, what do you think? Tiger says, I can compete. That's what he says after a practice round prior to this week. What do you think, Michael Wilbon?
Rich, you know how when we start off in journalism, our instructors, professors say, don't tell me, show me?
At Northwestern.
Yeah. You and I've heard that, haven't we?
Yeah.
Look, I don't know that there aren't 5 athletes in my life that I have enjoyed seeing as much as Tiger Woods during his run. So there's a 12 or 13-year stretch there, 1997 to 2009, where literally I stopped what I was doing.
No doubt.
I mean, I lied to get out of weddings. I lied to get out of birthday parties, anniversary things, other people, family and friends. Oh, yeah, mom and dad are having a 50th wedding anniversary. Can you be there? No, I got to work. I'm out of the country. I would say anything to get out of being out of the mix for watching Tiger Woods play in a major tournament. So there's no bigger Tiger Woods addict, addicted to watching him like I was Muhammad Ali as a kid or Michael Jordan as a grown man. So would I love some sort of fantasy situation? Of course. Rich, that's all it is a fantasy.
Yeah.
You don't walk off the street and win anything in professional sports.
But if anybody does it, he could be the one to do it, right, Michael?
No,
that's the thing I love about this is that how could you put anything past him? I understand what's happened in the last 5 years. It's been a train wreck. There's no other way to describe it.
Yeah, that's right.
But who else could do it?
Nobody.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
And, I keep thinking, so many of the great athletes and the 2 I mentioned have had these comebacks. I mean, God, the Ali's comeback, Michael Jordan's comeback, the comeback has been, a necessary part of the story of so many of the greatest athletes of all time. Jack Nicklaus at 46 years old. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I would love it. It'll be great. I will cling to every second of it. I'm glad he's playing, all the above. But I think it's more likely he'll miss the cut than finish in the top 20.
So then who do you like for this one, if you could choose?
You know, I don't even know. I don't necessarily like Rory in this position either. I kind of Bubba again.
Again, that would be remarkable. That would be unbelievable.
You know, and he's an interesting character because, you know, golf needs somebody who's immensely popular to sort of rally it right now, and he's not that guy.
Michael, I'd be remiss if I let you go without talking about the Cubs opener. I know you're a Chicago guy, and obviously the opener didn't go very well on the field, where John Lester didn't last 5 innings. The team got 5 hits, and then the biggest hit of all that was supposed to be the renovated Wrigley Field was a flop where fans couldn't get into the bathroom. There's some unfortunate shots of how they were able to, I guess, accommodate themselves. So what do you think? Obviously, it's just one game. It's supposed to be a big season, optimistic season. Joe Madden, the Cubs turning a page in a way. I give you the floor, Michael Wilbon.
I don't believe any more in this being a magical season than I believe that Tiger Woods is going to win the Masters.
Oh, no.
And I am a Cub fan my whole life. And I want it. I would love to see my team win before I die. But Rich, this whole off season and the lead up and spring training, the notion that the Cubs were the 3rd betting favorite in Las Vegas. Are you kidding me? This is a team that lost 100 games as recently as 2 years ago. And they're going to just sort of out of nowhere, again, with people who are born in the mid-1990s, they're going to come in, they're going to win in the division. It's got the St. Louis Cardinals and Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. What are we talking about here? It's insane, the expectations and the conversation out there that the Cubs might be in the postseason. Insane to me. I went to spring training here in Arizona. I watched them play in person. I love what they're doing. I love what Theo's doing. I love that he got mad. I love all of it. I love that Wrigley Field's being renovated. But none of it is ready. That team, the stadium, the field reflected just about where the whole project is. It's very much a work in progress, and I don't understand why anybody other than Chicagoans, other than, you know, Cub Nation, if you will, would be interested in this. 6 years. You have to pop up with a bunch of kids who are barely out of their teens and win in professional sports, not in any professional sport. So I love what's going on. I want to be a part of it. Somebody asked me if I was going to Wrigley Field. I said, I'll get there in July. Wrigley Field's going to be under renovation, Rich, until like 2018. It's like Madison Square Garden where they needed 3 years. Well, this is a 101-year-old baseball stadium. It's going to need years. So people need to slow their roll. I'm going to try to enjoy this, but expectations, again, they're about where they are with Tiger at Augusta this week. I have none.
Michael, thanks for the time. Really appreciate it. Enjoy watching the Masters, and we'll chat down the line.
Rich, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
You're the best. Thanks. Michael Wilbon of ESPN. Pardon the interruption. Follow him at Real Mike Wilbon on Twitter here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern. On Audience.